What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and this is Cookie, and today we're going to be giving the Once Over to Saw 2. There will be spoilers.
Give it a good once over.
Giving us the once over.
Giving him the once over.
Give me a once over.
Down to give us the once over.
For a routine once over.
Once over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
The fingers.
I was like, it's two
fingers. It looks a little dirty when we do it, actually. I don't know that we should be. Yes.
Saw 2, Saw 1, and Saw 2.
So, that brings us to a great place to start with Saw 2, which is the posters, which got completely shit on by the rating system. They were like, you're not allowed to have these two gross, disgusting fingers, but it's very effective.
They're gross.
I love it.
They're gross.
I love it.
The posters actually get increasingly insane.
Yeah.
To the point that there's like, I think it's the 7th one, there's like this giant dystopian statue of Jigsaw that's being built by like mechanical arms. Which is a scene in the movie, admit it.
Yeah. So Cookie and I are going through all of the Saw movies for October. We are very excited to be talking about all of them. If you haven't already checked out our review of the first Saw movie, I highly recommend doing that. Of course, there will be spoilers, and all of these will be overlapping a little bit, and we are just excited to talk about these movies. So let's get right into this one. So Saw 2 came out in 2005, and unlike the first one, it was actually directed by Darren Lynn Bousman.
He did a couple of them.
Yes, so I think he did 2, 3, and 4, if I remember correctly. And he came in after James Wan did the first one, of course, but this one was also written by Leigh Whannell, who, of course, wrote the first one, and is one of the creators. He's Adam in the first one. Mm-hmm. And this movie feels very different than the first one.
100%. I think there's an element of like responding to the second one and like trying to zig where that zagged, but to the same effects.
Yes.
Or trying for the same
effects. Not necessarily hitting all the marks, and we'll get into that as we go through the film.
There are a few missed marks, I will admit that.
But basically what this movie does is it follows around a group of ex-convicts who are trapped by Jigsaw inside of a house. And they all have to go through these deadly tests, just like all the Jigsaw movies, all the Saw movies, where they currently are having some nerve agent. There's some poison in their veins.
They reference the 94 Tokyo subway attacks, which is, I don't know, that's kind of always felt weird to me.
Yes.
Because, like, that's a very real world, like, lots of people died from that.
Yes.
And, like, that was a really scary thing, you know, in Japan and that time. So it just feels too real world for these wacky Saw films.
I actually think that Terrifier 2 does a really good job of explaining this. At one point in Terrifier 2, one of the characters says to another character, you know, you don't dress up as Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween. It's acceptable for us to dress up as Jason for Halloween. You don't necessarily want to cross that line because there are real victims. So,
100%.
Of course, all of these ex-cons have to try to retrieve antidote in order to be able to survive the game, and each one of them is being taught a lesson, because that is what Jigsaw likes to do, is teach us lessons and appreciate life.
See, people call him a killer. A, he's never killed anyone.
So he says.
But B, he's a teacher.
Yes.
First and foremost, he's a teacher.
He's very thoughtful.
He's teaching all those people. He's got 1 billion apprentices. Spoilers.
Not 1 billion. This movie, it actually stars Donnie Wahlberg as...
But it does. Donnie Wahlberg as the biggest piece of shit cop ever. Like,
let's talk about Harvey Keitel and Bad Lieutenant
no
for a second.
Way. Harvey Keitel has, like, redeeming human moments. This guy is just
Detective Erik Matthews does not.
Erik Matthews. Mr. Feeney's going to be very upset.
Yes. Damn it, Erik Matthews. You've changed. So he actually stars as the detective, and he ends up getting very involved in this case, not just because he is being goaded by Jigsaw to be involved, but also because one of the people who is trapped in this house is his son, Daniel.
Yeah, there's an early scene where we see them. Daniel has been, he was like shoplifting, and he's in the back rooms with the security guards. His dad's a cop, gets him out of things, but is just he comes in the back of the mall. He's smoking. He's got like a 5 o'clock shadow. You can tell he's been drinking. Like you can smell the booze off him through the movie.
Yeah. You really can. I like actually that they make him smoke in all of these very early on scenes. So he's like having the emotional conversation with this kid, and he's like fucking smoking the cigarette, and that it makes him feel dirty. Especially because when this came out in 2005, this was very much when it was cigarettes are bad, nobody smokes cigarettes.
Yeah.
And so to have a character that is smoking, that automatically is making
in
them
front
sort
of
of
his
a bad
teenage
guy.
son.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
It was a little thing, but again, extremely effective.
Yeah, and they have like a really, like realistic fight.
They do.
The parents are divorced, and the son is visiting. He's like, I think I should go back to mom's. It's like, say that again, and he gets really shitty, and then it gets a little confusing because we see his son get in a car, and then it cuts to Donnie Wahlberg at his apartment, but it seems like he probably would have
needed to driven
that
son.
car. Yeah, whatever. That does not matter. It was just a little detail I noticed. Like, well, he got in your car, right? So you drove him somewhere.
We continued the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we get shown pretty early on in the movie the first Jigsaw trap, which has to do with Michael, and he has this Iron Maiden looking face mask. I think they call it a death mask.
It's called a death mask. He calls it something like a Venus flytrap.
Yes.
When it closes, it kind of looks like one of the helmets from the game Bloodborne.
Oh, yeah.
It's got the creepy metal mask.
Yes. And Jigsaw, while he is trying to solve this puzzle, while he's playing this game, calls him a rat and a snitch.
Yeah.
And that is the lesson that he's being taught.
It's also it turns out he's Detective Matthews' informant.
Yes.
So it's another way to pull him deeper into this game, which, spoilers, we find out the whole game is about him.
Yes, it absolutely is. That is the entire crux of this movie. I do really love that death mask, though, and I want to talk about it. It's a cool
Absolutely.
opening sequence. It happens before we get the title card, and the way that he has to win the game is he needs a key to remove the death mask.
And it's, very obvious, even before they show it, it's he can't see it, but, he's got this big incision here, and it's, swollen, and, it's the Jigsaw's I'll give you a hint, and it, pops up of an x-ray of
there being a key inside of his eye. So he has to go into his eyeball in order to get it. Tony from Hack the Movies, I know how much you love eyeballs, so this one's for you. It's probably your favorite moment in any of the Saw films.
The extended cut really gives more close-ups of eyeballs.
Yeah.
I really thought it was gonna. Every time I think they're gonna slice it like that Dolly short film. Yeah. They don't, but every time I'm like, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, I also do know that Tony from Hack the Movies is reviewing Saw this month, so I just want to say that first of all, we did it first, and second of all, we talked about the eyeball stuff, which I'm sure that he's avoiding.
Is he wearing a pumpkin shirt too?
Probably not, that asshole. Okay. He doesn't even care. But you should go check out his video. I didn't say that. You didn't hear that from me. So he fails. The mask clasps shut.
He, gives up. This is kind of what I was talking about in the first one. Some people can scream for a whole minute and a half and be fine. He does a little bit of help, 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 and he tries to cut a little bit, and he throws the thing down, and he goes, help! It's dude, you have to help yourself in this situation.
I don't think I would have a problem with doing this one. I think I would hesitate, but I think that I could, this is the type of thing that as long as you you have ripped the Band-Aid. You have ripped the Band-Aid 100%. Right here, be an Amanda. Yep. That's the point of this movie, right?
On my spreadsheet, this is a clear, yes, it's winnable.
Winnable.
This one is totally winnable.
Yeah. It is a big mental block to be able to do that to yourself, but that's the entire point, is that you are challenging yourself. I like the mask collapsing and him falling over and then that blood gush. I think it's a very
out
nice.
Of the sides of the mask. That's perfect. Yeah.
It looks really
it
good.
looks it's this is still Saw. You know, they're we're still doing the spinny cameras, we're still doing all the edits and stuff. If that's what you wanted, we're still doing
it.
that.
Yes. Of course, this movie came out just 1 year after the first one, and they had made such a huge impact with the first one. This movie needed to hit heavy, and it ended up being actually one of the highest grossing films in the US and Canada because so many people were so hyped up on it.
Yeah, like after that ending, it's like, oh, it was kinda,
What's going to happen next?
Yeah, it's like kind of like a Sixth Sense. It got that word of mouth about like, oh, that ending. There's a scene where Erik Matthews he's in his apartment and he's calling his son because he can't get in touch with him. He's like, hey, I know we had an argument, but like, can you please call me? This is a very realistic parent thing. Like, please just freaking call me.
Yeah, just let me know that you're
Just
okay.
let me know that you're alive. And then there's a thing that the series does in the first few entries, and they kind of fall off about it, which is these like very smooth like transitions between scenes. Like there's a scene where in the first one where Danny Glover drives off screen, and as the car clears, we go back into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And in this, after this phone call, he gets a phone call that calls him to the crime scene. We actually see him stand up, putting his jacket on, and as he's walking, another police officer walks by, and it's like the sets are connected, that he walks straight through. I don't think the sets were literally connected in this. I know in some of the sequels, they do go to that extreme, but I just love that, like non-linearity. It's just like, you're here, now you're here, and you don't know what's going to cause those things.
Series of events.
Yeah. I want to say in the first one as well that it's like Amanda's interrogation, and then it pans down to blackness, and it pans into the bathroom. Like, I love those things. I absolutely love those.
And you bring up a good point with the non-linear stuff, because when we have those non-linear set designs, we also are alluding to the fact that our storytelling is going to be non-linear.
And starting with this one, this is, I think, the one where they do it the most. I think because it's very effective at the ending of this. They, to varying degrees, kept trying to do the playing with your perception of time. When is this happening? Yeah. When is it? Did this already happen? Oh, but we're watching them do this in the past. But this like, they keep trying to do it, and I don't think anyone does it as well as the ending of this.
Yes, I completely agree with that. This was another shocker of an ending, and you needed to do that following up one.
100%.
So Detective Matthews gets called in to investigate the Jigsaw killing of Death Mask dude.
Yeah, the informant.
And Jigsaw has written on the ceiling, "Look closer, Detective Matthews."
Yeah, Dina Myers is there, and she actually like says that to him before he notices it written giant in like blood on the walls. Great detective we've got here.
He didn't care. He was a shitty father and a shitty detective.
The longer we go on, the worse the cops get, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yo, this is like a weird. I will say that the social justice commentary in this movie is strong, and I love it. So they realize that Wilson Steele is on the name of the death mask, and this leads them to Jigsaw. I had a lot of trouble with this. So we get like a SWAT team whole sequence going on here. The way that we got there is that Detective Matthews wakes up from a dream, and then we go into the SWAT team thing. I thought that it was like a flashback. I thought for like the first like 5 minutes of this scene when they're all SWAT teaming stuff, I thought that what they were doing was explaining to me why Detective Matthews and Carrie, Dina's character, have this contentious relationship. I thought that I was, and it took me a very long time to actually get into the fact, oh wait, no, we're actually in real time going and finding Jigsaw.
Yeah. And they're like, they said like, you're not supposed to be working this case, but then he just comes along and then seems to just be in charge.
Yes. Well, he needs to look closer.
He's the guy.
So
he's the guy.
They go and they find Jigsaw, and Jigsaw is eating soup.
No. I'm sorry. I have to correct you on this.
Please.
In the extended edition,
go on.
We get 2 extra seconds of him eating cereal.
Oh.
What cereal do you think Jigsaw is eating? It's Life. He really appreciates Life cereal.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
And he's reading.
Why would that have
book
been taken out? That's genius. That's like in Pulp Fiction when it's Life and Operation are the board games there. Jesus Christ, that's so funny.
I think that little tiny 2 seconds makes that scene much better because they're all going around and trying to bust down doors, and he's just like,
I had no idea. I literally thought my notes say he's eating soup, question mark?
You cannot, in the theatrical, you cannot tell what he's eating, but thankfully we got very important information in the extended cut that shows he is eating a bowl of cereal.
That is great. And he eats it the entire time that we are in this movie, so that is some soggy-ass life. Jesus Christ, dude. That is really, really, really funny.
I think that might be like the only thing in the extended edition in this one.
And it should have stayed in because it would have made more goddamn sense. I wouldn't have been so confused.
The first time I saw that, I was like, more Jigsaw and he's eating cereal! Yes!
That's great.
Show me more.
So they're all busting in again. It's like a mega SWAT team going in, and these 3 detectives start going up this like staircase thing that is like completely enclosed.
We get Billy.
We get to see Billy, who is now mechanical. He's no longer paper mache.
On his little tricycle.
Yes.
And his tricycle is actually kind of intimidating this time.
Yes, I would agree.
Like, it's kind of comical when he wheels up to Amanda, but like, I think it's just he's got the high ground. You know, it's like he just comes in and you're just like,
whoa.
Well.
Yeah. But I will say he's not featured that much in this film, and so the idea that they went through all this effort to make him a mechanical puppet that had like all these new abilities, I understand that they had all the additional budget because the first film had succeeded. I don't think that we needed to do that for this movie. I think it would have been fine if he was still a little paper mache doll.
No, Billy needed a glow up. Jigsaw in this is peak Jigsaw. Like, his hair is just like so soft and like goes in all these different directions, kind of plays to where his mind is and stuff. And
he's eating life.
He's eating life cereal. He's got his nice little black and red robes that him and his cult members wear.
Yeah.
And he is like very sick in this one.
Yes.
Like, they talk about him being a cancer patient in the first one, and we do see him in the hospital, but like, he's
sickly.
They come in and they're like, get up, and he's like, I can't. And it just shows like all the medications. He's hooked up to like an IV drip, and he's like, I can't get up.
Yeah, I'm not getting on my knees, is what he's literally, I cannot get on my knees. So Billy at the top of the staircase, as these detectives are all storming in, obviously there are traps.
There's
the
like
stairs do a weird shut out.
Rotates down, and then kind of like this like battering ram kind of comes out, and like their legs like snap.
And then the fence is electrocuted.
That's a little. That's the one thing I noticed in my spreadsheets, in that there are traps, and then there are like booby traps, and I don't think I think his booby traps are just to like kill people. I don't think he's actually trying to teach these cops lessons by breaking their legs.
Well, he wants
and
to be able to
electrocute them.
continue.
I guess that's fair.
He wants to be able to continue his reign of making people's lives better.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
It's like, my plan won't work if there's 13 SWAT officers in this building, so I need to get rid of 3 of them.
It's 10 I can handle, but you know. So this is a really interesting way to start out this movie because they catch Jigsaw in the beginning.
He's done.
He's caught. We're done. I fucking hate though when Donnie Wahlberg, like, they do like the close up of his face and he goes,
"Hey, is this close enough?
Is this close enough for you?" And he's chewing gum. Dude.
He's probably
Could you
chewing
be
gum.
more menacing?
He's probably chewing gum because his character is a cocaine addict.
I thought it was going to be to cover up the cigarette smoke smell.
No, he's fiending.
Oh my god. I hated that. And I get it, like, he's being pompous.
I love how terrible he is. He is just the worst, nastiest, gross, just piece of shit. I love it. I
Can't believe you think that he's better than Harvey Keitel. Or not better, but more evil.
It's actually like the yin and yang of like Larry in the first one, who's generally, we maybe argue, generally is kind of a good guy. You know, he's a doctor. He's cheating on his wife, maybe, but doesn't make him
not the worst.
Lots
of people do it.
Yeah, morally it's dubious, but you're not killing people or anything. And then him, and then he's worried about his family. You know, Donnie Wahlberg's worried about his family, but it's just the biggest piece of shit. And like, so I kind of like that.
The counterpoint.
They're doing similar things, but the character is just so completely different that it ends up being this completely different thing.
That's interesting. So Jigsaw basically tells Detective Matthews, he's like, you got a problem over there in that room, which reveals that there are a monitor showing that there are 10 people.
There are a lot of monitors. Jigsaw has a lot of monitors in this one. He's actually reminding me of like Neil Breen. With like Neil Breen will have like 20 laptops set up. Like Jigsaw's getting close to that in this movie. Like it's just like 30 monitors there, and then you see more later on. Like it's just, dude must have gotten like a really good deal on CRT monitors. Like a school closed down, and he got them all out of the dumpster or something like that.
He was so excited. So,
or he made Amanda go into.
Yeah, that's probably more likely.
With her pig
Come
mask.
on, Amanda.
Put on the pig mask. Get in the dumpster. Get all those monitors out.
So the monitors reveal that there are 8 people trapped in a room.
One of them being his son.
One of them being Detective Matthews' son, Daniel. Another one of them being Amanda, who wakes up.
And I'm sorry, I gotta just go off.
Yes, go.
At this point.
Yeah.
Shawnee Smith is a beautiful woman. She has a beautiful head of hair. This long, gorgeous hair.
She's gorgeous.
And in this movie, they put this fucking wig on her. And I hate it so much. I hate this wig. I hate how she looks. And the fact that she looks like this in Saw 2 means that we've seen this fucking wig like 6 times throughout all these movies. And then, spoilers, Saw X actually takes place between 1 and 2. And she has that, so they kept that fucking wig.
Yeah, the wig
so,
is
like, we're going to have like 3 more movies and she's going to have that shit wig. And
It was a haircut that was very of the time, but it was stupid, and it sucked, and it never should have happened. You hate that wig so much.
You I was excited when we were talking about Saw 2, because I would finally get the catharsis of just letting it out. And let people know, this wig is bad.
No wigs for Amanda's. Why did they give her a wig?
Well, there are scenes where she has longer hair, like when she's like slitting her wrists and stuff like that. She does have her longer hair, so I think it's just to kind of show that this is
within this
flashback
timeline.
But
it's really stupid.
It's a terrible wig.
It's absolutely awful. So when she wakes up, she obviously knows what's going on. Nobody else really knows what's going on in this room.
Everyone wakes up kind of just like, and she wakes up like,
I know what's happening!
Which I suppose kind of makes sense later on.
And she immediately starts going and pulling bricks out of the wall.
Like knocking on stuff, and everyone's still trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, because I guess...
And she doesn't explain it. Like, I would be like, it's Jigsaw! We'd later find out why she's not...
Yeah, she does eventually...
explain the things.
But, yeah, So, I mean, we'll just get into it. It turns out Amanda is an apprentice of Jigsaw. She has been working with him since, presumably, shortly after the events of the first movie.
Yes.
And she's there to protect the son and kind of push them in the right direction if they're not doing anything. Yes. So I like to think that if they had, like, started looking for clues and stuff, I don't think she would have done any of that.
Yeah.
I think she only did that because they're like, fuck you, and just started arguing, and it's like, no, if I don't get them out of this damn room, they're gonna stay here and stab each other.
So I do think, and it is important, she certainly is driving the plot, and there are many clues very early on in this film that she is in on it. We see as the film goes on that all these people have poison coursing through their veins, and everybody is starting to exhibit effects of that, and she never does.
But one woman, she like coughs up blood like instantly. Yeah. Like her insides are just goop the entire movie.
Yes. She was more petite.
I guess that's true.
So, you know, it would potentially impact her much, much quicker.
And she's probably not, I don't know. It's implied, I think, that she's like, you know, streetwalker, so
Yes.
she's probably not taking very good care of herself.
Absolutely. So when Amanda pulls all the bricks down, she ends up finding one of the Jigsaw tapes, and they are told that they all possess the combination to the safe in the back of their minds. And we are told the phrase, over the rainbow. And again, X marks the spot. Now, I have a little bit of a problem with this, because none of them listen to any of this
Which
information.
I kind of like.
Wait, but here's my counter argument to that.
Okay.
At this point, people must know about Jigsaw.
Well, that's actually a detail I really like, is when she brings up Jigsaw, one of them goes, who the fuck's Jigsaw?
Yeah.
And then the woman goes, do you know what's the news?
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, if there was a crazy serial killer like in town, you would
know about it. So, but here, okay, so if Jigsaw existed in the real world and I got pulled into a Jigsaw trap, I would know. Surely the news media has been saying Jigsaw does these little games with you, so pay attention to the words that he's saying. And none of them. If you said to me, and again, we're about to spoil immediately. If you said to me, the combination to the safe is in the back of your mind, the first thing that I would do is go, let me see the back of your head. Like, that's literally the first thing that I would do, because I know that is Jigsaw's thing. And then as soon as I heard Over the Rainbow, I would go, clearly they're going to be color-coded.
Roy G. Biv!
Like, I would have figured that out so fucking fast. Wait, Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, violet, 7. So that's an interesting hint immediately, because we know that there's 8 people in the room, but Amanda doesn't have to have a number on her.
Does she not have a number?
She doesn't have to.
I don't think the numbers don't end up being a thing
Yeah,
that
they really
much.
don't.
Which I kind of like as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a nice subversion.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is going to be the thing.
It's gonna be a huge,
But we're over here.
Yeah. But I do have an issue with the fact that they're not, like, very clearly listening.
No,
I feel like at least one of them, obviously Amanda's not going to say that, because she wants them to die, or she...
No, I'm just imagining, like, the news segment in the Saw universe, like, if you find yourself in a Saw trap, and then, like, the words are coming up over here, it's like, be sure to listen to all the rules. He likes puns.
Yes. yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not like it's the complicated pun. Like, it's not like...
He definitely has some that are a lot more, like, stretches,
Yeah.
or you're like, oh, that's what that meant.
I just feel like I would immediately figure this out.
Well, here's the thing. Your insides aren't being turned into goo by poison.
Okay, that's true. Good point. That's a very good point.
You are in the mindset of Saw, whereas they are, like, generally
Freaking out.
just
They're
freaked
freaking
out
out, yeah.
criminals that are probably... None of them seem to be really with it.
You might be right about this. All right, you might have convinced me. It makes slightly more sense to me now. So we kind of get introductions to all of these people. Now, I don't necessarily like that we have so many people within this. I like that we get to see lots of traps. I like that we get to see lots of games, and I appreciate that. But this movie becomes a little bit muddled for me because there is just so many people, and I can't attach myself to all of them.
I think that's fair, and it's interesting because this is actually kind of the template that they mostly follow throughout. A group of people find themselves in there, and then one by one, kind of slasher style, they get lost to the traps. 5 is actually, I think, my favorite in that regard.
Yeah.
And it's a group of people, and by that point, they're like, "Oh, this is fucking Jigsaw."
Yeah.
And okay, well, we got to do this, and like they're kind of meta gaming the Jigsaw stuff. So I do kind of like that stuff in some of the later sequels. But I definitely agree. I feel like you could have lost that blonde woman. I don't know. You probably could have lost Abby, but you can't lose Abby.
I love
but
him.
like you could have probably lost him. Like, yeah, I agree. You could have probably cut the cast down to half in the house.
Now, again, one of my criticisms to this movie over the first one is that it feels more like a horror movie. Now, you would think that would be a positive thing because I'm trying to watch a horror movie, but I really loved that the first Saw had that psychological thriller, and I think that you hit the nail on the head when you started describing that it has that kind of slasher feeling because you know that each one of these 8 people is going to get fucked in some way. And so we need the body count. We need the body count when we're in a horror movie. And it was hard to give us the body count in the first one because we have 2 people in a room.
And they did really well by showing you the previous
The other traps, but
and
we can't always flash back to previous traps. So I get it. I understand why it's happening. It just, I would prefer to stay in that psychological thriller mindset as opposed to seeing the additional kills. Make the kills that we get really, really powerful and maybe have a little bit less of them.
I will say that I think this is some of the most visceral traps in the entire series.
I absolutely agree.
There are several that are just like, it's the only one I think where I'm like, ugh.
One of the most famous moments in any Saw movie ever is the needle pit, and obviously we will talk way more
People
about that.
know nothing about Saw know about
the needle pit, and I still can't watch it. So I like this absolutely has those memorable moments. Almost more so than the first one.
One thing I want to talk about, because we are still in the first room.
Yes.
They are in a house, but they spend a lot of time in this first room talking to each other and figuring it out, which theoretically should be good, but most of these characters suck, so I don't really care about them. There's a guy in business suit.
Ty. I call him Ty Guy.
Ty Guy, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Ty Guy.
Yeah, so we are just in this one room, and Ty Guy is the first to die. Not to any fault of his own.
They get the little baby key. They get a tiny little baby key that's for like, I don't know. It's for like a locket.
Yes.
It's
for one of those Dear Diaries that little like 10-year-old girls use.
Yes, exactly.
And the key says, "Do not use me to open the door." It very specifically says that, and we all know that we need to follow Jigsaw's rules. Jigsaw is a rule-abiding.
Amanda is like begging. She is like on the ground, just like rocking, just being like,
"Do not do this.
Don't do it. You gotta follow the rules."
Yes, you gotta follow the rules. And
it does kind of set up Xavier's role, and then he's just like, "Fuck that! I'm the guy. I'm gonna get us out of here."
Yes.
And Ty Guy is like, "Yeah," and turns it and fucking looks through the little thing. And
boom. Right, so now we're down to 7. That was like my note when I first watched this. I was like, are there 8 people? I was like trying to count the number of people. I was like, okay, wait, so there's 1, 2. Wait, is
7.
this? And then I was like, oh, now it's 7. All right, got it. So yeah, that's Ty Guy.
Don't have to worry about Ty Guy.
And I do think that you're exactly correct about Xavier. This is us setting up to understand that he's the macho asshole.
Yeah.
He by far has the most character development out of any of the other characters.
And it's like Detective Eric Matthews is a piece of shit. I love him. Xavier is a piece of shit. I could do without him.
Yeah, I could too. He does things like say, he's like, I'm going to break down the walls to this place because it's not a fortress, they're just made out of,
I do like the way he like taps the wall and stuff.
And so, he has this machismo that is, off-putting is how I want to describe it.
Like toxic masculinity.
But
like,
he's not
personified.
wrong about a lot of things that he does. He's an asshole, but he's not wrong.
Classic, you're not wrong, you're just an asshole. Yeah.
But while we're kind of getting all of these dribs and drabs of them in the first room and moving out of the first room, we also get to find out that Jigsaw really just wants to spend some time with Detective Matthews.
They want some one-on-one. Yeah, it's like they go to his warehouse, there's like the part over here with all the monitors, then there's this big, like, just his warehouse where he's, like, making things.
Yeah.
You see, like, weird mannequins that are just, like, in wheelchairs and stuff. And then he's in, like, it's like how the last room, it was a bathroom, but it's not a bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like he's in a kitchen, but it's not a kitchen.
He's eating soup, but really it's life cereal.
It's like, you're questioning everything you're saying.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, so he's like, send all the cops away. I just want to sit and I want to talk with you. And if you sit and talk with me, you will find your son in a safe place.
He says it like 4 times. I'm like, oh my god. Stop saying it.
I have to say though, when I first saw it, I did not see that coming.
Oh, I immediately got that.
I was like, I don't know, like maybe I just didn't catch it, or I was a dumb teenager.
I will say as a positive for this film, I immediately understood that the numbers were going to be on the back of their mind. I immediately understood that they were going to be rainbow coordinated. I immediately understood that his son was going to be found in a safe. I didn't know how we were going to get to all of those things. Despite the fact that I immediately figured every single thing out about this movie, I still was like, wow, when things were happening.
It's that music, it's the fast
the
cutting.
reveal works.
The reveal works really well.
Even though I felt like I understood all the twists right from the beginning, from the first 15 minutes of the film, I still enjoyed the heck out of it. And that's really hard to do because usually, especially in 2005 when this movie was coming out, we wanted a twist that we didn't see coming. And I saw all the twists coming and I still had a blast.
No, I think that's fair. I think the ending works in spite of the movie, as opposed to the first one where the ending works because of the movie. Yes. It has like the best Jigsaw moment in the entire series. Is, you know, they're talking and he's like, "Where's my son?" And it's like, "Well, I haven't seen those monitors in a while, but I bet he's like in the corner with a shitty look on his face and about to cry," and which he's exactly right. And then and then later on, he's talking about the poison that's in his vein. It's like, yeah, his insides are gonna turn to goop, and then his blood's gonna come out of his eyes, and then he gets this like the biggest smile in the world. He looks so happy talking about this teenage boy like melting into goo from this poison. It's
sadistic.
It's almost wholesome and how happy he is that like it's all coming together. It's all coming up, Jigsaw, baby.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I do really love the moment when he's like, "I haven't looked at the monitors in a while." Like, I think that is an effective way to answer that question. He's like, "You have me cornered here. I don't know what he's doing. All your people are watching those monitors. Why don't you ask them what he's doing?"
And he keeps talking like, "I know they're listening on the radio."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, at one point he's like, "The people that are listening on the radio, can they bring me something from the other room?"
Yeah. Will you help me out a little bit here?
I'm a little infirmed over here.
Yeah. So we get a little cut back over to the house, and the group of 7 now figures out how to get downstairs, and we get our first tape directed to a person.
It's a house with traps in it, so it's a trap
house, and they're drug addicts.
And the guy is, I don't know, maybe.
I think you might be stretching it.
I think I might be stretching it, but Jigsaw does love his puns.
Yes, he sure does.
But they get out they get out there and they're all starting to like push on things like they learned from Amanda.
Yes. And
she's throughout the movie doing that in weird corners, and I'm wondering if she's like, "I don't want them to look here because there's nothing here, so I will look in this corner."
That's a very, very astute point. I like that a lot.
But they actually start working out because I think Jigsaw says something like, "You all have something in common or more in common than you all know."
Yes.
Glenn Plummer, who is in Speed.
Yes.
Which I will bring up later. Glenn Plummer, he's like, "Hey, you got a prison tag. I've been in prison.
Shouldn't we start working things out?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, "We should listen to the tape." And he's like, "Fuck that tape."
Yeah.
And they start talking and they're getting closer to like the reveal, and then the blonde girl figures out like, "Oh, I pushed this door in and it opens," and that's when they get inside.
Yes. So once they get downstairs, Abby gets a tape. And his tape from Jigsaw insinuates that he kidnapped the others and put them there.
Yeah, and then the blonde girl, like, she's like, "I remember now."
Yeah.
And it shows him capturing her in her car, and he gives her a little kiss.
It's very creepy.
It's so creepy. It's like,
Jigsaw did not tell you to do that.
No,
buddy.
that's... I'd like to... Jigsaw was, like, gonna let him go.
Yeah.
And then he saw that little kiss, he's like, "No.
You're getting in the house, asshole."
Get in the furnace.
Oh my god. So his tape basically tells him, "You need to go climb into this oven." And there are 2 antidotes in there.
One's free.
And the other one comes with a price.
Comes with a price.
And one of them is for you, and one of them is for you to give to whoever you want.
Yeah, and Xavier, there's an awesome moment where it's probably Abby's best moment because he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes. Xavier's like, "You gotta get in there," and he holds a knife to his throat. And Abby just like pulls the knife like across his throat and like cuts him. He's like, "If you're gonna threaten me with a knife, you might as well cut me a little." Like,
it's badass.
It's badass. I kept trying to come up with words for it, but like I couldn't stop coming up with cold things. I'm like, "Oh, that's ice cold," and I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Don't do it.
He's about to die in fire.
Oh my god, that's absurd. So I have a big problem with this.
Okay.
Because Jigsaw gives people the opportunity to live. Yes, one will come with a price, right? So is this trap just a 50-50?
I think... Okay, well, here's my thing. I don't think this one is winnable.
I don't think so either.
Because...
I think that's bullshit.
I do agree. Because, like, okay, let's play this whole thing out. He goes in there, he grabs the free one, he comes out. They're probably just going to kill him and take it.
Yeah.
or be like, they take it, be like, get your ass back in there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's a scenario where he's like, oh, just got the one, whoop.
Well, but not
Let's
only
go get
that,
more.
but not only that, Jigsaw says there are two, even though he says there's one comes with a price, he says there are two, and you can have one for yourself and one for somebody else. Jigsaw's lying to him. You can't have both because you're going to die. And Jigsaw shouldn't be lying because we play by the fucking rules in Saw movies. And that drives me insane. And so I think that this is maybe one of my least favorite games, specifically because of that. I cannot understand. I understand that the idea is that we are concerned about greed. And so Abby is being punished for his greed by grabbing at the second one. But Jigsaw literally told him, you can have two.
Yeah, I think I got to give this one to you. I'm trying to think of
This
some bullshit to save Jigsaw
No.
here, and I'm just not coming up with anything.
This is probably, despite the fact that I really like the overall look of this, it does not make any sense to me. And I probably rewatched this scene like 3 or 4 times trying to figure this out, and I can't find anybody talking about this.
I'd actually never thought about this
The
before.
closest thing that I saw was talking about that one that I saw. The closest thing that I saw was people talking about that one will come with a price, and that's why the second one. But Jigsaw wants people to survive, and he's not giving him a survivable game here.
Okay, no, I just thought of something.
Okay, tell me.
This could be off base, but like the whole thing.
Yes.
And pretty much the whole thing. Anytime he puts a bunch of them in together, is that they have to work together.
Yes.
That their natural instincts, which I'm
to
literally
protect
quoting
themselves.
the 5th one. Your natural instinct is to save yourself. But if you help others and you do things, then you're going to succeed and get out of this. There is nothing that says he had to just crawl in there and get it. There are any number of ways that them as a group could have fashioned something to get it out, could have worked together, could have shoved something in there so that the door doesn't close, because obviously you're going into a furnace, you don't want the door to ever close. So I definitely think you're right, but I do think if you
could kind of make an argument.
kind of make an argument there, but I agree with where you're coming from.
Which is really upsetting to me. Like, I think that it's upsetting that really is the first game that we're playing here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't logically make sense. And I don't know if maybe there was another plan for that. I do think it's cool. I think seeing him lighting on fire is really cool. I think seeing them try to break him out is really cool. I think it's a very effective sequence. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, I think you're totally fair. Yeah, the way it, the way the fire slowly starts, it's like an oven or something. It just goes...
Yeah,
just the little ones, and he's like, hey, open the door. Yeah. And they're like...
He could have gotten out. He could have gotten out in the beginning. In my opinion.
Well, I don't know. That door is close. You can actually see that there's a mechanical wiring that goes to it and closes it. Yeah. So I do think if they worked as a team and kind of looked okay, he's gonna climb in here and that's gonna close this door. So let's all
hold this door open.
Exactly.
Find something to jam in the door.
Or let's get this window open and we can grab a thing and pull it out. So I do think if they had worked together as a team, there was a possibility. But I do agree with where you're coming from, is that you want the traps to be able to be survivable by the person that gets in it. Yeah. Especially because you went through the trouble of making a tape and recording them. Yeah. He put it in an envelope. He wrote his name on it. I do like that his name is spelled Obi, like Obi-Wan, and that's how they all thought it was pronounced. And he's like, no, it's Obi. It's Obi.
Yeah. I always want to call him Obi. I probably already have.
Obi's cool. R.I.P. Obi.
Yeah, I know. He was a very memorable character, again, for only being in the movie for 5 minutes.
He's got a good look. He had a cool voice. And, R.I.P. Obi.
So we go back to seeing Jigsaw a little bit. Jigsaw, again, is kind of talking with Detective Matthews. He's like, you don't care about your son unless his death is impending. People sleepwalk through life.
He's antagonizing him.
He's
yeah.
talking about he's basically saying the proverbial clock is ticking on life. And that obviously is very important to Jigsaw as a whole because he's constantly giving people timers. He's saying, if you know when your clock is going to end, then you care a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
He likes to think of himself as giving people the opportunity to see that.
Yeah, I have no life left. Like, my clock is at, like, a month. I'm trying to make you appreciate the time you have left that I don't have.
Another thing that I kind of struggled with, though, in this portion is that Jigsaw is, like, describing surviving a car crash. There's, like, that weird...
He tried to kill him. So, no, well, that's part of a kind of a weird scene. Because they don't want to pay Carrie Ewells to come in.
Yeah.
So we see the moment where he's told he has cancer. I don't know. I like that the cancer isn't what did it, like, push him on this path. It was that he tried to take his own life, and then living through that kind of puts the idea of, you know, adversity pushing you to appreciate the time you have more. So I like that as a plot point.
So now we go back to the house, and we get to find out that the fake reason that Amanda is there, which is that she has been cutting herself. So she grew to appreciate life, she stopped doing drugs, and then she started cutting herself.
I think the implication is that she tried to commit suicide.
Yes, I think that's right. She's got
the thing. Yeah. She's in, like, this, like, blue outfit. It's kind of maybe like, you know, a psych ward or a medical facility, something like that. Oh, look, 'cause maybe she's got working as a nurse, you know?
So, of course, we know that really she's there because she's helping Jigsaw.
Yeah.
But, you know.
They actually do a nice splitting of a scene where it shows her cutting her wrists, and you think it's her just, like, going through it, and then it shows, no, Jigsaw's telling her what to do, and he's setting her on the path. Like, I like that a whole lot.
I did too. At this point, Xavier gets his tape. Turns out he's a drug dealer.
Yep.
Not a big surprise.
It's a big giant dude with a bunch of tattoos that's just a giant asshole.
And we find out that his game is meant to show the fact that he is offering hope to the desperate. So he is providing people drugs for their addictions, and they are desperate for those drugs.
I also think it doesn't really come up, but he's like, I like to think that it's like heroin, and he's like, I think they do say that, but it's like, you people are putting your poison in their veins, and he has poison.
There wasn't a single saw in this movie. Aren't you disappointed by that?
Isn't there? Well, they go into the room. Oh no, I'm thinking of another.
I don't think there's a single saw in 2. Fucking bullshit.
Turn this off. Turn it on. Turn it on. Cancel the series.
So that leads us to what is probably the most iconic of all of the Jigsaw traps.
Yeah.
Which is Needle Pit.
And I like that it's hidden. I don't think most of the traps you go in the room and you're just like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah.
But the fact it's just like this crappy bed with like this carpet over it, and then like, you know, the kid is like, guys?
Yeah. Needle Pit is, I think, the bane of everybody's existence. I hate needles a lot. Like, so much. And the first time that I saw this, it was in theaters, and I remember, like, skin crawling, like, no, don't do it. I can't fucking watch it. I can't fucking watch it. I can't fucking watch it. And it becomes even worse because, of course, instead of Xavier going in himself, which is what he's supposed to do, he throws Amanda in there.
Yeah. He, like, picks her up.
It is devastating and it is horrific, and I think that it is so extremely effective because I think that a lot of people know that us horror freaks, that we as horror freaks, we love seeing blood, we love seeing something gross, we don't mind if a head is cut off, we don't mind who's shot where, who's axed, who's, you know.
We were so stoked on that guy getting his head blown off in that first one.
But a lot of us hate needles. And I think that this scene was so intentional with that. This scene played into the, we didn't make you want to look away when we showed you all this blood. You're going to want to look away during this one. And fuck did I want to look away.
Yeah.
But you can't. You can't.
It's very visceral, and I think I said it before. Like there's the traps in this one feel very visceral.
Yes.
Even the fire one, it's like he's just trapped.
Yeah.
And he's like banging on the glass, but he throws her in, and like it's like it kind of makes sense that she has to do it, giving her
Because she is it is literally a drug dealer throwing a drug abuser into their hell. It's very, very poetic. That is a very poetic moment when he throws her into hell.
And I also think that it's worse in people's minds than what we actually see.
Yes, absolutely.
Every time I imagine it, it's just blood everywhere and needles covering every inch of her body.
There's maybe 20.
And they're kind of like in the word, like you would think just don't even want to get into it, but you would think it would be you think it's worse in your mind than what it ends up being.
But it's still
not to downplay it at all.
No.
And I was wondering when watching it this time, did she know where it was? Because she finds it pretty fast. Like the timer when she gets thrown in is only like a minute and a half or something like that. And she finds it pretty quickly. And then the fucking Bubble King, fucks it up. She goes through all this shit. She finds the fucking key. He's got like 10 seconds and he's like, whoa.
Yeah, he's an idiot. His big muscles got in the way of putting the key in the hole.
I was too oiled up.
So this scene is pretty incredible because Shawnee Smith was actually pregnant during the filming of it.
I didn't know that.
So she was actually pregnant. She was pregnant during the filming of all of this movie. But I can't even imagine going into that pit and doing that. I mean, it's again visceral. That's a challenging acting scene, and she was doing that probably while not feeling. Her hormones might have been out of whack, some might say.
Well, there's a moment where like he's giving her shit, and she just screams like "fuck you!"
Yeah,
and like that felt real.
That might have been the pregnancy hormones. But also, in addition to that, in order to create this horrific scene that torments all of our nightmares, they had to have like PAs and different people replace all of the actual needle tips with felt. So there were 120,000 needles that they had to do that with. So that scene took a lot out of the actors. It took a lot out of everybody who was in production. And it was worth every single fucking second of it.
Exactly. No. What they spent their budget and time on, like, perfect. That is the stuff that we want.
That is the epitome of a Saw trap. That is the epitome. Again, I think that is what people think of when they think of Saw.
No, 100%. It's like we were talking to somebody the other day about Saw, and they were like, "Which one's the needle pit?"
Yeah,
like they don't even know what movie it is in. Yeah. Like, probably haven't even seen that one, but I know the needle pit.
Yeah, oh yeah, everybody knows the needle pit. Ugh.
And the fact that it didn't she passed.
I know
she passed, and he fucked it up. It's just perfect. Everything about that trap is just so perfect, and I like you get a lot of little character stuff in that. Like all the other ex-cons are kind of looking away, or like shucks. Well, shucks. What do we do? And the kid is like, "Come on, we have to help her. Come on."
We get a very tender moment between the two of them. Also, after she's taken out of the pit, Xavier is still being a fucking cock. And Daniel comes over and is very gingerly removing the needles and trying to help her as she cries. So we really get to see quite a bit about Daniel as well.
Yeah, and Xavier has like a quarter of a second of a human moment when he's it's approaching a human moment.
Go on.
After the Saw and Daniel's pulling the needles out. He's like, "Fuck all you! I'm the big boy." And he said exactly that.
Yes, I believe
and
it.
he goes to storm out, and then Daniel pulls something out, and she goes like, "Ah!" And he has this quick moment where he stops and kind of looks back over his shoulder at her, and then like shrugs it off and like goes forward.
I don't remember that at all. I think you're making it up.
It could also be an extended edition thing. We did watch slightly different. My version had like 5 extra seconds.
I got to see Life Cereal, did you?
oh, he's eating soup, you ignorant fool.
Yeah. You fool. Oh my god, that's really stupid.
And yeah, it keeps coming back to Jigsaw, who is just antagonizing Detective Matthews.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he is needling him. Oh, sorry, bad choice of words, baby. He's just
I'm having flashbacks.
it's like, you're a terrible dad, and then he starts getting into like he starts making like little digs at him, like, oh yeah, because you follow the rule book, you're Mr. Rule Book. Oh yeah, and it's like it felt kind of like. You don't usually get this shitty. You must really dislike this guy.
You really hate this guy. You really hate this guy. Something that I will make a comment on before we get back into kind of how Jigsaw is antagonizing Detective Matthews is Tobin Bell really does an incredible job in this film. And we talked a little bit when we were talking about the first movie about how amazing he is as a body on a floor in the first movie. Yeah. He's incredible in that movie.
He really gets to shine in this one.
I don't know if it was dumb luck or if it was always intentional to have a follow-up where he really got to flex his acting skills where he isn't laying on the ground in a pile of blood. But he is so talented. I did not realize that, if you had told me the dead body on the floor is starring in this one and he actually has a big part, I would be like, he fucking sucks. There's no way.
Who is he sleeping with behind the scenes?
Why would you hire somebody to do almost nothing in the first one that is that good of an actor and not allow him to flex those chops?
Tobin Bell is like in stuff, you know? It's like he pops up in all sorts of stuff. Like,
but he's just Jigsaw.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, when they cast him.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
Like, that's why I think the shot of him in the bed in the first one is so quick. Because if you'd be like, isn't that the guy from the opening of the other movie? Yeah.
I think he just absolutely knocks it out of the park.
He kills it, and he kills it. Shawnee Smith kills it, and when they're together, it's amazing. It's and beautiful. They really get to shine. That relationship really gets to shine in the third one.
I completely. That is absolutely true. So Jigsaw again needling at Detective Matthews. He says, "Hey, you've been planting evidence," and he shows that to all of Detective Matthews' coworkers.
Don't look that surprised.
Nope, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit surprised. And Jigsaw obviously also says, hey, all the people that you've been framing and planting evidence on, they're in a house right now with your kid.
That's right. That is actually what like I said, he asked them to get something out of a drawer for him. That is what he asked them to get, the dossiers on each of them, and there's going on. And another thing that I like about the kind of cop situation that we got going is that, like, Erik Matthews is just a piece of shit.
Yep.
And the lead SWAT guy, Rig, who ends up being one of the lead characters in 4.
Yeah.
He's like the devil on his shoulder, being like, come on, no, we'll just hit him with a phone book. We'll do this old school, baby. He doesn't say baby. I don't know why I said that.
No. Felt like he did.
That's what I wanted him to say. And then Dina Meyer is the like, no, come on, talk to him, work this out. We can do it. We've got him. We got him. Like, all we got to do is just sort this out, and we can do this. And he's a piece of shit, so he just keeps going back towards that devil on his shoulder.
I never really thought about this before, but the cops in this film almost become like the interplay of the media, the cops, and the scientists in kaiju films.
Okay.
We almost get a little bit of each one, or, like Spock, Kirk, and Bones in Star Trek. Like, we get a little bit of those different personalities that all interplay together and create one. So we have the cops as a whole, but each one of them truly is unique. And I never thought about it that way before, and I like that.
Yeah.
So one of the moments that I really like when Jigsaw is talking with Detective Matthews is that he says, wouldn't it be such a shame if all the people in that house discovered who Daniel is? That, I think, is actually maybe one of the most sadistic things that Jigsaw ever does. Because that puts Daniel in immediate threat, not just from Jigsaw, but from all of his housemates. And
it's sort of like their big brother. Like, it's the big brother house.
Yes, well, but, I mean, yeah. And then you got eliminated, killed. That is really extremely, extremely sadistic, because one wrong move by Daniel immediately puts his life in jeopardy, because all of these people
hate his father. He almost slips up. Yeah. They were asking if he was in prison, and he's like, no, my dad's a real hard ass.
Yeah. And you talked about before that Jigsaw wants all of these people to work together. Now, Daniel actually has an incentive to not work together because he needs to be a lone wolf, because if people discover too much about him, he's putting his own life in jeopardy. And that is a really, really interesting thing that Jigsaw does here, and it makes Daniel an extremely unique character.
100%. And Daniel is one of the first where it's kind of like, it's like they're not victims, they're like just like inconvenienced people that are like more like a prop.
Yes.
You know, like actually in one of the later sequels, Jigsaw apologizes to the people. He's like, "I'm sorry to do this, but I needed you here for this, so sorry."
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason that I think it feels weird that Zepp is supposed to kill the wife and daughter in the first one, because he seems to go way out of his way to not have these collateral damages, which maybe they're just, we didn't see all of that play out, so maybe there was an element to Zepp's thing that we just never saw.
Yeah.
You know, he goes to fire the gun and it like fires backwards or something, like, you know, some stupid Jigsaw thing. His gun opens and like slices his head.
Yeah, that would be clever. So Xavier is still running the house with his reign of terror, but he notices that there's a number on the back of Ty Guy's head.
Yeah, it's like they're all still in a group trying to figure stuff out, and he's just like, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
And there's quite a while without any traps, and just them talking and walking around the house. And it's not the most entertaining.
It's not that entertaining, and again, I don't feel particularly attached to any of these characters, so I really just don't give a fuck.
And we know Daniel will be in a safe place, so we don't have to really worry about him too much.
Yeah. Everybody starts to realize that it's Daniel's dad that said...
It's the blonde chick's dying, and she goes, X marks the spot. Yeah. And there's like a broken picture frame with an X on it. Which, like, how many picture frames do you think he broke before he got an X that clean? But yeah, then he turns around and it's a picture of Daniel and his father, and it's like they all are like, and Shawnee Smith knew, but you know, it's like what? And he's like, ooh.
Now, I don't understand this also because, again, I like to think that I'm looking for all of the little clues that he says, and there's the door that says exit, and there's a giant X over in between the two doors.
I had that thought as well.
And I'm like, why did none of them... Like, we don't ever find out what happens with that, right? I assume it was another trap.
But yeah, I agree. I agree. I would have been like, oh, exit, X, okay.
And again, the X goes right in between the two doors. So it's literally like where the doors open, like they're like French doors. Where the doors open, the X is right in between the two. So.
It's like an escape room when you're focused on the wrong thing. That would have been me in the trap. I was just like, no, it's the X right here, guys. No, why are you going
picture frame?
Why are you going into the basement? We got the X-ray.
So the blonde seizures and dies, which is weird. I wanted more.
I would, blood out of the eyes or the ears or something.
That's what we've been promised, and we did not receive it.
Yeah,
that was a disappointment for me. And the brunette Addison, she goes and gets in the hand trap, which I think is another extremely iconic moment from this movie.
See, everyone's always so shitty to her about that, but people have already died from this, so like her brain is clearly not clouded. It's clouded, and like I like that like she got the tape, but she didn't have the tape player, so she's like, I don't know. So it actually might be the only trap we ever see in the series where we don't have a tape for it.
Yes, you might be right about that.
Or maybe some of the early one, or to open movies or something. But no, I think there's at least always something.
Yeah.
But she's just like, I don't know, and she tries to get it, and she breaks it, and she's stuck, and like. I feel so bad for her because I feel like that's how I would die in a Saw situation. I'd be like, oh shit.
Now I live like this. Okay, so I have two problems with the razor box here. The first problem is, so she sticks her one hand in, right? And I understand that she has poison coursing through her veins and she's turning into mush and whatever the hell. So she's got one hand in, right? Couldn't you just go like this and that would poop up the wires? That would ploof up the razors and then you could... Like, that would be, and I don't feel like that I would be any level of clouded that I wouldn't be able to figure that out.
That's another bit of they're supposed to work together.
But in addition to that, do you know the other thing that's in that razor box? There's a fucking key to get out of it in that razor box.
Is there?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Yes.
Well, there's
a fucking key, dummy. So, like,
I didn't see that. Okay, maybe she is just stupid.
Like, I don't understand how that is, and again, maybe we needed the tape in order to get the clarification about how this, whatever. Yeah. It's so, like, that one, again, it's iconic. Maybe that was in the trailer. We were trying to remember what the trailer for this was. I think that might have actually been in the trailer. And it feels very iconic as seeing her with her hands trapped up like this. But it doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. It does, you do get that, like, there's a kind of, she's trapped and Xavier comes and he reads her number and then, like, fades into the darkness, like very Batman. It's very, very odd performance decision from him.
We get another flash to Detective Matthews with Jigsaw, and now Detective Matthews is just beating the heck out of him. He's like, give me my kid, I want my kid back. He makes him suck on a gun a la Spring Breakers, or I guess Spring Breakers does it like this.
My mind went to Fight Club, but Spring Breakers is a much better reference.
Yeah. I love when people are forced, like, I love, in horror movies, one of the things I love focusing on is the idea of women, the final girl, killing people with phallic-shaped objects. And we don't get that a lot in the Saw movies. But we do get Detective Matthews making Jigsaw suck on a gun.
Open your mouth. Come on. There you go. You gonna tell me where he is now? Huh? What?
And that fills all of my needs, yeah. So I really, really, really enjoy that. I will say that is one of my favorite moments in this movie.
One thing that kind of leads into that, it's like how we were talking about the angel and the devil on his shoulders. Dina Myers, for some reason, she's like, I think she's wrong. She's like, destroy his work. You destroy his work, that's what's going to get to him. And he's just in there, and he's like ripping up his papers, and Jigsaw is treating him like a tantruming child. Yes. He's like, go ahead, rip it up.
Yeah, I don't
Go ahead. All right, that's fine. Because he knows that, like, his greatest trap is, like, in front of him right now.
I know. Oh, my God.
And Jigsaw, it's like, he's, like, laughing during the beat-up, because, like, in my mind, at this point, this is Jigsaw's final, like, be a good person, be a good cop, follow the rules,
take care of your kids,
sit here and talk to me, take care of your kids, and he's finally like, okay, I'll take you to your son, and that's like, you have failed. Yeah. As soon as he makes that, like, he kind of cowers, and he's like, okay. He's like, got a little voice Jigsaw, he's, okay, I'll take you to your son.
He becomes very pitiful.
Yeah, which ends up being a ploy.
Yes, a complete ploy.
Which is great.
And while all of this is happening, so now Jigsaw has agreed to take Detective Matthews to the house. Xavier is still being a dick. He's still going around trying to find the numbers on everybody's back of and they're all clearly in different colors because, again, we're following the rainbow. It's in the back of their minds, all of the things. And at this point, pretty much everybody is dead except for Xavier, Amanda, and Daniel.
And they are... It's like a slasher film at this point.
Yes.
Like they're
running around in this horrifying maze-like house.
There's another funny moment where he goes, "Don't run."
Do not run.
And then they just run.
Follow the rules. God, I'm a huge rule abider. I won't even jaywalk. Like, I don't like breaking the rules. I think I would do good in Jigsaw's puzzles.
I'm a kind of chaotic neutral kind of guy. So if there's a rule and it's not, I'll break any rule. I don't care.
I don't even care.
I don't even care.
Yeah.
I'll cross that street.
Who are you, Xavier? Jeez. So yeah, now Daniel and Amanda have kind of like barricaded themselves in the original room.
I do like how they end up trapped in the original room. That is a nice little... I see what you're doing there.
I do too. And again, they move the safe and they end up revealing another underfloor area. And again, that's really nice because that is like the needle pit. We're very elaborate at this point. Again, I feel like sometimes Jigsaw's puzzles are very... blah, and
They're like
the
basic.
simple.
Like,
and I like the simple ones. This is a very elaborate puzzle.
this is probably the most elaborate one. That opening, like, death mask one.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so good. You get the rules, and, like, that's
normal. Those are the ones I want.
Quintessential Saw traps.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the more complicated they get, the harder it is to get that, like, oomph out of them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And again, this movie for me, it fails in that there's too many people and there's too many things going on. And I think that's why both you and I get a little bit lost in the middle.
Yeah, like, Jonas doesn't even die to a trap. Like,
yeah,
Xavier kills him.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fun.
I couldn't even tell you how every single person died in that. And it's no fun that the blonde girl just dies.
She just dies.
I understand that that's kind of a trap because she had poison coursing through her veins, but that's so boring.
She's a weak little lady.
A little deer.
She's a weak little lady.
Oh god, I hate it so much. So Jigsaw is bringing Detective Matthews to the house, and all the other cops, the SWAT team, is all watching them.
They filmed the driving exactly like in the first movie with the shaking the thing, and it's against a black backdrop.
Yeah, you like that?
It's good. It's good.
Primo filmmaking for you.
Save your budget for where it matters.
So when they
Little
arrive, Jigsaw is like, "Hey, Detective Matthews, you're gonna need this key," and he does the
little thingy.
It was there all along.
I like that. I like the little thing.
It's very cute. That's what.
Jigsaw's very cute in this one.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of little cute moments.
Yeah.
I have this headcanon that Jigsaw is really into the Cube movies.
Okay, I like where this is going.
And in my head, when he's designing the second trap, the big house trap in the second movie, I imagine him saying, "This is my cube. This is my cube."
I really like that, actually.
And like, I looked it up. He would have been able to see all three Cube movies if this is set in 2005. So he probably dragged Amanda to see Cube Zero in 2004. This is all my headcanon. Jigsaw is a huge Cube mark.
I really like that, actually. That's so funny.
Cube is what inspired him on these weird trap deaths.
That's going to be my headcanon.
There is nothing in the movies that does it. I was just watching through Cube. I looked at the years and I was like, I bet Jigsaw loved Cube.
He fucking loved it.
I bet he loved Cube.
He fucking loved it. Oh my god, that's so funny. That's really, really, really funny. So Amanda and Daniel, as they're going through the house, they're going there again. It's like this maze, like they're getting chased.
They crawl. They go in the room. They crawl in the hole down the safe, and then they end up in like basement back. It's like the boiler rooms for like a stadium.
Yes. I did not like that. It looks effective. But again, it makes no sense.
That's exactly where Saw stuff should be set.
Yeah.
But like, did you go into the sewers, or is this house built on utility tunnels? That's like
very weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
And even weirder, they end up in the bathroom from Saw 1. Yeah. That's where it was all along.
So did
what?
Well, because like, that's not the way that Zepp and Danny Glover Tep got in. No. They had this door. Like weird back door, and they go through. They did end up in those tunnels. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess
it's very bizarre. The layout does not make sense.
Layout doesn't make any sense.
It's like the Simpsons house.
There's the rumpus room.
Yeah.
That's what the bathroom is. It's a rumpus room.
That's all right. I love that. That's my new thing. I will say that I do love it when they go into the bathroom set. The bathroom set. I still don't. The rumpus room set. I do like that. The doctor's foot is still in there.
The doctor's foot's there. Adam is there, and he looks gnarly.
Yep.
Like the foot looks bad, and then he looks way worse.
I love it. I think that is so fucking great.
And they shoot it like an episode of MTV Cribs. Like when it lights on, they're like do 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 do. Like look at this cool thing. Look at this cool thing. Yeah. And you're like you're supposed to be like, yeah, it's the bathroom. Yeah. Which they do go to the bathroom. They go back to that bathroom several times throughout the series.
How bad do you think that the poop smelled at this point?
I actually would imagine that the Adam smell has kind of overtaken
the poop smell? All right, you might be right.
I imagine it all just kind of broke down eventually and just, especially Adam swirled it all.
Gross. Fucking gross. I love it. Ugh, he still had poop.
He still got poop.
He still had poop hand.
Just one hand is just slightly browner than the other. Yeah. The poop heart's still there.
Yep.
I guess that's not going anywhere.
No. You'd have to clean it off. I'm not doing that.
Jigsaw sends Amanda down.
Yeah. And all while this is happening, of course, Detective Matthews and the other cops the cops should be entering the house. And Carrie is watching this on the monitors.
Yes.
And she does not see them. And they keep going, yep, we're going in, this room is clear, this room is clear. And she's like, I don't see you guys. What is happening here? And that is when we realize that everything was pre-recorded.
He pushes the stop on the VCR and it pauses because Jigsaw did a Speed. And they have an actor from Speed as a direct reference to Speed. He did a Speed. He did a Speed.
You had to keep the bathroom moving at this amount of time in order to not die.
The toilet isn't swirling 15 times a minute. Billy will explode.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes, you are totally right. It is a Speed.
And that is the twist. This is where the ending starts, even though it's like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
But it's like the music starts coming and you're like, oh shit.
It's happening!
Oh!
Yeah.
It's good. That's a good twist.
That
That's
is
a good twist.
And now we're ending this movie in the bathroom scene. So Daniel appears to die in the room. Amanda is now fighting with Xavier. Why can't I say his fucking name? Amanda is now fighting with Xavier. It's just getting worse.
Xavier.
Amanda is just fighting with Xavier, and Xavier wants the numbers. And
she's like, whoa, hold up.
How are you going to find out your number if I don't tell you what it is, so don't kill me? And he does takes a fucking knife or a piece of...
He, pulls his, skin out and stuff.
And that makes all of his stupid macho bravado throughout the entire beginning of the film worth it, because he is living up to the expectation that he set for himself.
He is not something
he's not a wuss. He's doing it. He is cutting the back of his neck off so that he can live. He's playing the game actually pretty well at this point.
And you know what else he does? I'm surprised you didn't note this, and I'm surprised you weren't very excited about it.
Go on.
He takes the little bit of skin, puts it in his
little pocket.
Puts it in his little pocket.
It's very cute.
It's like Kaylee would do that.
I would totally do that. What Cookie is referencing here is that I may or may not save foot skin and then paint artwork on it, and everybody that I work with is aware of that. So if you want any foot skin artwork, that is the thing that I make.
Send in your foot skin and she'll turn it into artwork.
Everybody has learned too much about me right now. I'm very worried.
Cut it all out.
I do like that he puts it in his pocket, and that was actually not what he was supposed to do. He was originally scripted to throw it, and then he put it in his pocket, and everybody on the production crew liked it so much that they kept it.
That's good. I like that was a spontaneous performance.
Yes, and I think that it works really well. Yeah, I get it. Just keep this. I would definitely keep that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'd have to, right?
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah,
if you survived through that, you'd want some sort of
memento.
Fucked up memento. Yeah. Sorry, you were very wrong earlier. Because you said there was no Saw in this movie. And then Daniel comes back alive and kills Xavier with the saw! The titular saw! It returns!
I totally forgot that that's how he killed him. You're so right.
I forgot about it too, and then we were just talking about it.
Oh, man.
That titular saw, it gets him out.
Yeah.
I hope it got paid more for the second
That's
movie.
so stupid. Yeah. Probably did. And then, the pig man.
Well, I think it works. I think it works here in that I think any mask would work. I think it's good that you don't get to see her hair or it obscures who's in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I don't like the pig mask, but I do think having her wear some kind of mask in that situation made sense.
Well, it's a good thing that she had short hair, otherwise you might have seen it. Yeah, I'm going to make you suffer because you're trying to make me suffer. It's a good thing she had short hair because otherwise you might have seen the hair sticking out.
Well, Daniel's kind of has.
Thank you, wig.
Daniel kind of has.
Thank you, wig. We love you, wig.
No. Yes, that wig deserves to die, and I hope it burns in hell.
Yes. So true. So the masked pig intruder stabs Detective Daniels.
He's coming through the house. He's like finding all the dead bodies and stuff like that. So it's clear he is in the right location. Yes. And he climbs down into the tunnels, and it's like, oh, Daniel, that's like clearly not your son. Like,
very obvious.
The mask helps a little bit, but that's clearly not your son.
Yes, clearly not. At this point, the timer goes off. They have missed the timer. And what happens after that?
The safe opens back at the factory, and his son is in the safe!
He was in a safe place all along!
Safe place.
Safe
place.
Fucking kill me. Dude, I love it, but also shut the fuck up.
He's like, looks so fucked up in there.
Yeah.
He's like got all these tears. He's like sweating like crazy, and he's got this like oxygen mask on him. And he's like gasping for air and like just crying and like clawing at the sides. Like that was like a very good performance in just those few seconds.
I completely agree with that. And now, Detective Matthews gets his very own Jigsaw tape. But it's not Jigsaw. It's Amanda's voice.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think her voice is super great for the tape.
No, I agree. I want it to be more evil, and she still sounds fun and jovial.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. She sounds like Shawnee Smith, not like tortured Amanda going after the man that ruined her life. Because, he planted evidence on everybody in that place. Specifically with Amanda, she had never done drugs before. He arrested her for possession of heroin. Then she went into jail and became a heroin addict, which is probably, unfortunately, a very common occurrence.
Yes.
So that is the reason. So this is actually, like, her first trap. Like, the whole Erik Matthews thing, that's all her
It's all
trap.
for you.
It's all for you, Erik Matthews.
Yes.
It's all for you.
It's all for you.
Yes. Beautiful. Just beautiful. I like it. I like it
too, and she gets her own door slam.
Yes, she sure
which
does.
I did forget to mention that I think that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing?
I think so too.
Especially the way that Jigsaw does it in the first one.
Yeah, when the extreme
There are
and the lighting of it and the shot and
they try to do the door slam at the end of several of them, and it's kind of diminishing returns each time. But yeah, she kills it. She reveals her plan. There's this whole thing, in Jigsaw rambles a lot throughout this movie, which it's all good. But he keeps asking Detective Matthews, "What is the cure for cancer?" And Amanda ends up answering it, which is like basically creating a legacy, living a life that's good, leaving people behind that remember you and want to carry on your things. In general, that he's probably meaning more like your family and your friends and people that live on and
not like
you.
this, baby doll. Not
this.
like
I have inspired this former drug addict to become a weird acolyte of my of my beliefs.
Carry on my legacy.
Oh yeah.
And you and I feel differently about this, but the end of the movie truly is just a stupid ass retelling of everything that has already happened.
I agree. You're not wrong.
I don't like it when Daddy Jigsaw comes to tell me a night-night story all about how wonderful everything is that just happened. Like, I don't need it. I'm not stupid. I understand your point. So you made this point when we were talking about the first movie. You said the thing about it is that it works in these movies, even if it doesn't work in other movies. Yeah. It has become a trope of the Saw movies. So I think that it's necessary? Yeah, kinda. But do I fucking hate it every time? Yes, absolutely.
I think especially with this one, there is a lot of like disparate information. Yeah. So kind of the concise and laying it out, and the fact that there is actually a twist with Amanda, and it can kind of cut back to those moments of her in the house. It is giving you new information, even though it's not really showing you that much more new stuff. Other than like the splitting of the scene, like we said, where we see her cutting, and then it turns out Jigsaw was telling her to do that so that she could be undercover in this game to protect Matthew and
Daniel.
Nobody's protecting Matthew.
We don't want to protect Matthews.
Now that's the Erik Matthews they gave medals to.
Needs to die.
So then the movie ends with another thing that I hate and you love, which is stupid fucking new metal.
I do not love new metal. That needs to be stated very clearly. I do not like new metal.
You love new metal and you love Shawnee Smith's wig.
Yeah, sometimes I wear her wig
while you're listening
to new metal, and I just design Saw traps.
You love new metal within the Saw series.
That is right.
That is the clarification.
I feel like the Saw movies, like new metal, just fits right in there in the time and place that these come from.
This song might be the worst of all of them. I believe that it's Mudvayne. I tried to look it up, but then I got too annoyed literally reading about new metal, and I was like, I don't fucking care enough. I read through the credits, and again, it's like, I just want to watch the fucking credits. Stop with the goddamn shit-ass music.
Well, there's a mute button.
I get worried that somebody's going to say that there's going to be something that happened. Like, I don't want to not watch. I'm a completionist. I got to watch it.
I understand. They really don't do end credits. Well,
yeah.
They kind of do. The main thing that's at the end of each credit is that there's sometimes like a different logo.
Yeah.
Than in the rest of the movie, which I always find
interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice little alternate logo. Yeah. There are only, as far as I know, Saw X has a post-credit scene or mid-credit whatever scene, and then which I missed. I was so mad. I was yelling like Larry, and then. One of the sequels, there's like this scene where Amanda's talking to someone, and like in one version of the movie, it's like in the middle, and then at the end, and another version, it's like at the end, and then another, it's a post-credit sequence. It doesn't actually even do anything. Yeah. So it's one of those. But in general, the only thing that you're missing by not going to the end of the credits is those logos.
Yeah, but I like reading all the credits. Sometimes there's funny things in there.
I get it.
Sometimes somebody has a funny name. I like a funny name in a credit.
Well, yeah, no, I get one of the producers' names becomes pretty important later on because they name a character after him.
Exciting. Gotta read those credits, baby. Anyways, this was an absolute pleasure to be able to talk with you about Saw 2, and I'm looking forward to talking about all of the other Saw movies throughout the month of October. We are very, very excited here. But before we start talking about those movies, I would love it if we rated this one.
Okay. Oh, God, what did I do?
So, we got a scale of 7 thumbs up. And for our first one, you did approximately 5.1 out of 7 thumbs up, and I gave it a 6.
Okay.
So how do we think 2 ranks compared to that? The box office says it's better.
Well, box office.
Per box office.
This is a kind of an aside, but most of the worst James Bond movies are the ones that make the most, because they'll make a very good one, and the next one will be garbage. But everyone's like, oh, the last one was good. I'll go see this one. But yeah, out of 7 thumbs up, probably like middle of the road, like 3.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Maybe more towards 3. I don't know. It's one that, like, a lot of them, they grow in my estimation as I kind of rewatch them, and this one, sometimes I struggle to get through it, honestly. Yeah. Like, there's parts, like, even ones I like worse, I feel like they flow a little bit better. This
I understand that.
It's just pacing wise, I think maybe the non-linearity, they were trying to go too far with it, you know, and it's like, all right.
This movie for me became a caricature of Saw 1.
I can see that.
So that, and whenever that starts to happen, it's like when people talk about The Simpsons getting kind of annoying in the later seasons, it's because the characters are becoming caricatures of themselves.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit what I felt like happened here. However, I will probably give this a 4 out of 7 thumbs up. And the reason that I am going to do that is because, one, Needle Pit. I think that the fact, you can't go lower, for me, I can't go lower than a 4, because I think that if you have something that iconic, regardless of how good the rest of the movie is, it deserves something. The place that I would not get thumbs for is that it gets muddy in the middle. I get bored. I don't think all the kills are that great. Yeah. Again, Billy the Puppet is not really in it. He didn't need to be a mechanical, you know, like,
well, at least now they have him for sequels.
Yes, that's true. But I just feel like it gets a little bit lost. It goes a little too... If we had made it more simplistic, it would have had the same power as the first one. And I think that losing that power of the simplicity of the first one, the simplicity of the twist, we didn't need to go completely crazy. This was far more complicated. Complicated to the point where, am I going to remember the plot of this movie in 1 hour from now? No.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched this movie maybe like 10 times since it's come out, and like, there's parts that I'm always like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, they've all got numbers on the back of their heads.
Yeah, it's very silly. It's very silly. But I do think that it was absolutely worth the rewatch, and I had a super fun time watching it. So even though I don't give it a super high thumb rating, I think it's something I'll revisit.
I might actually go up to a 4. You're kind of like, as you're talking and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, 3 is a little too low, especially because
we know what's coming.
I need room to go down.
Yes, we know what's coming is the problem. So thank you again so much, Cookie, for joining me. Do you have any plugs that you would like to do?
I want to plug Once Over with Kaylee, Captain Crunch Berries are very good.
Yum.
And Friday the 13th 5, New Beginning. I think that's the one I'm going to go with.
I like that. I like that very much. I also appreciate that you didn't choose Life cereal. You went with Captain Crunch Berries, but whatever. I'm just saying, be on brand. It's fine.
I'm not Jigsaw, okay?
Oh, alright. You don't need to
or
eat life.
am I? I'm a secret apprentice. Oh fuck, I let it.
Damn it. Alright. So thank you so much, Cookie, for joining and talking about Saw 2 with me, and thank you guys all for watching, and we can't wait for the next one. Bye.